What's up? What's going on? It's your girl Nika of Traveling with Nika, and I am back on your screen with a new video. Today we're going to be talking about how you can be saving hundreds of dollars on your travels, and these are tips and tricks that I personally use as a frequent traveler. So definitely get ready to take some notes and let's get into the video. One of the first ways that you can absolutely save your coins when it comes to travel is by booking in advance and also traveling during shoulder season. So that's like a two-in-one, tip. However, let's talk about booking in advance and why that's important. One of the reasons that I always recommend for individuals to book their travel in advance is one, so you can have a general idea of like what is going to cost you in advance for your flight or even like your accommodations, etc. Because a lot of times people underestimate maybe the flight cost to go to a destination, and they may think like, oh, like it's cheap to go there or it's affordable or whatever. However, if you don't book in advance, you're actually maybe unable to get those really good flight deals. So booking ahead of time really gets you to understand, one, what's the general prices to go to this destination, and two, if it's also in your budget to go to this destination. And the second tip regarding shoulder season is more specifically around knowing when is a better time to go to a destination when everyone else is not going there. So let's just say, for example, you were like, listen, I want to go to some city in Italy and I want to go in July or August or whatever. Those are summer months, and more than likely that is when a lot of people are going to be traveling to different cities in Italy. So if you did not plan ahead and you did not realize that that is actually one of the most popular times for you to go to Italy, you could definitely be paying premium prices for not only your flights, but also your accommodation. So traveling during shoulder season just means that you are traveling to a destination when it's not like a very popular time for everybody in the world to be traveling there. So for example, instead of traveling in July to go to Italy, you may consider traveling during February, March, or you may consider traveling during like October, for example. Obviously, every country, their shoulder season is different. So you definitely want to just research and see when is shoulder season and how you will be able to save your coins going to the destination of your choice. One of the other ways that I always save money on my travel, and it goes back into the tips that I mentioned before, is I actually set up price alerts for all the flights that I am interested in booking. So let's just say if I am currently mapping out my 2025 travel plans, I literally already have price alerts set up for some of the flights that I am interested in so that I can be able to track the price fluctuations, whether it's going up or down, and also get notified when it's the best time for me to actually book this flight. So because I am planning ahead of time and I set up price alerts, that helps me to, again, be able to get the notifications, and I would know like, okay, actually this trip is now 3 months out. This is the best time for me to book this because I've already been tracking the flight for the last 2 months. So I kind of already have a good idea of what is a good price, along with Google Flights, for example, telling me when is a good time to book my flight. So price alerts on Google Flights, for example, is a perfect way for you to be able to get alerts for your flights and know when is the best time to book. One of the other ways that I'm able to save my coins when I travel is when it comes to actually utilizing budget airlines. And I know budget airlines get such a bad rep at times, but I have used budget airlines not only in the US, but also abroad. And I've definitely been able to save tons of money by utilizing budget airlines, even when I have paid extra to be able to get hand luggage included, check bag included, etc. You always want to weigh the pros and cons with flying on a budget airlines because you may be able to save hundreds of dollars on your flight and still get to your destination safely. Like how I saved a bunch of money by only paying around $59 to fly to Madison, Wisconsin on Breeze Airways, or how I only paid $100 and something to fly from Italy to Austria, And that was by me paying extra. So if I didn't even pay for the extra things that I actually purchased while I was booking my flight, I would have paid under $100 to be able to go to a new country. Listen, you cannot beat that type of deal sometimes. One of the other ways that I'm able to save tons of money when I travel is what I call the 2-in-1 vacation hack. So instead of only visiting one destination, whether that's a US state or another country abroad, I always consider how can I technically maximize this travel experience and visit another destination. So if it's in the States, I would consider like, is there a nearby state that I can easily drive to or easily fly to and be able to visit another destination right there and then? Or if it's another country, I would think about, okay, is there like a train that I can take? Is there a quick flight that I can take to get there? Or am I able to also just easily take like a ferry or something like that to be able to go to another country? So for example, when I visited St. Lucia, I actually ended up flying to Dominica, but then I took the ferry back from Dominica to St. Lucia. And I was able to visit those two countries in one big trip. So that's just some of the ways that I am able to save money on my coins. So instead of me having to separately think about planning a trip to Dominica, I was like, when I'm in St. Lucia and Dominica is close by to St. Lucia, so let me just go to Dominica as well. I also do that when I go to Europe, for example, because sometimes it's so easy to be able to jump on a quick train to go to another country in an hour or two, and boom, next vacation there. If you're loving some of these different travel tips, definitely check out the link in my bio for my travel ebook, which has over 100 different travel tips, hacks, and strategies for you to be able to save not only your coins, but be able to be fully prepared for any trip that you are planning. So definitely check out the link in my bio to grab my travel ebook, because it is definitely a very impactful resource with over 80 plus pages of all the things that you need to know about planning your trip and obviously saving your coins too. Whenever I am traveling, I always try to consider, is it better for me to stay at a Marriott because I have status with Marriott? Is it better for me to book a hotel or a rental that is more like a boutique hotel or a local hotel that I may be able to find on platforms like booking.com? I'm not the biggest Airbnb or like rental property person when I travel. However, I definitely would still do the research when I'm traveling with a group of individuals, because sometimes it could be more cost effective. So always do your research on accommodation options and don't just write off an option without even doing the research. So as I mentioned, I'm not the biggest Airbnb person, but I'm not going to then book a group of people in like 3 or 4 hotel rooms if we technically could have definitely saved way more money by doing an Airbnb. So again, don't write off different accommodation options without doing the research first. One of the other ways that you can save your coins when it comes to accommodations is to look into specific rates that hotels or rentals may offer if you are staying for a longer time. So for example, they may be willing to negotiate if you're staying more than a week, or if it's a hotel, they may have built-in packages if you are staying for 4+ nights, for example, at their location. So I have actually used this before, where when I'm searching on Marriott, I actually always search to see if they have a stay longer on us rate. And normally you're able to save between $40 to $50 per night just by selecting that rate. If you know that you are going to be staying at a destination for a longer time, maybe more than 3 nights, definitely always look up ways for you to be able to save on your nightly rate. So sometimes, as I said, hotels have this already built into packages. So when you are going to check out, definitely just look to see if that is available for you. Now, this tip is something that I've definitely been telling you guys for a very long time. And that is to make sure that you are literally signing up for every single loyalty program, especially when it comes to hotels and booking platforms, for accommodation. You want to make sure that if you realize that, hey, I've been staying at a couple Marriotts, you need to have a Marriott account so that you're earning your nights as credit towards status with Marriott. If you know that you're staying at Hilton's a lot, why don't you have a Hilton account? You are missing out on perks that you could be building up to be able to get better deals when you book your next stay. So for example, I'm an elite member with Marriott. So some of the perks that I'm able to get differs obviously by property, but I always make sure that if I am staying at a Marriott, I am booking it directly through the Marriott website or app, because I want to always make sure that I am getting credit for my stays. Because the more that you stay at a specific hotel chain, or the more that you use a specific booking platform, for example, like booking.com, you are able to not only earn loyalty points basically, but you're able to also earn different perks. So when it comes to your activities and transportation, I definitely have tons of different tips for you to be able to save your money when you travel. Cities around the world, including the US, they may actually have what they consider as a city pass, or they may have a different name for it. But all it means is that instead of you basically paying individual prices to go to some of the popular tourist sites, they may have a package deal for you to purchase, and you are able to then go to a combination of different tourist sites for the price of one. So you obviously want to make sure that you are obviously planning to already go to the different places that are going to be included in this package. But if you are, you definitely want to research and consider a city pass for that destination. I have definitely used city passes in the US and abroad if it has made sense for me when it comes to planning out my activities. One of the other ways that I'm able to save a lot on travel is actually when it comes to my transportation costs. So you guys know, listen, I will take a train, I will take a bus, okay? Like I will take the public transportation, especially in countries or areas where it is very efficient and it is cost effective. So I would look into how much a day pass would be or how much a multi-day pass would be, and I would normally get that pass. Or if they allow like tap and go, I obviously research that ahead of time so that I can know like how I'm getting around to different places while visiting that destination. So I always look into the public transportation system and what the general costs are for me to get around, because you don't want to be using rideshare and paying a bunch of money to get around if you can literally just jump on a bus or a train to be able to easily get around in that destination. You are able to save tons of money that way. Another way that you can absolutely save money on excursions or activities when you are traveling is by utilizing a very secret tool, and that is your student ID. A lot of you may have valid student IDs that you are not utilizing. When you travel and you are going to be booking tours or going to museums, you can ask if they have a student discount available. I have been able to use my student ID, and sometimes they don't even ask to see a student ID. If you already are inquiring about a student discount, they are normally not as strict to be asking you like, oh, where's your ID or anything like that. They would just say, oh yes, like we do have a student discount, here's what the cost is, and they will literally just give it to you. So you always want to inquire, especially for museums and activities that are very popular, because they more than likely have different pricing tiers. And if you have a valid student ID, why not use it and get the discount that is available to you? One of the other ways that you can save money on your travels is actually when it comes to transportation to and from the airport. So apart from possibly using like public transportation to be able to save, you can actually always inquire with your hotel if they offer any free shuttles to and from the airport. And you can also inquire with them if they have any like partnerships or discounted rates for like local taxis or drivers to be able to get you around or back to the airport if needed. And even if the hotel doesn't have like a shuttle service available, they may even cover your transportation to and from the airport. So for example, when I was in Madison, Wisconsin, my flight was so early in the morning, their free shuttle was actually not operational at that time. So they arranged for a local taxi to come and pick me up for the time that I needed to get to the airport, and they covered the cost. I didn't even have to go through like any reimbursement or anything like that. The taxi simply billed the hotel directly. So you always want to look into ways of how you will be able to save money through your hotel for transportation costs. Some of my final tips that I have for you guys today is one, definitely you need to consider getting a CAD that does not charge you foreign transaction fees. And I know if you've been on my channel for a while, or if you even purchased my travel ebook, that tip is definitely in there, because a lot of people don't realize that their banks are charging them when they travel outside of their home country and they are using their card. One of the other tips that I have is when it comes to ATM withdrawals and currency exchange. You always want to make sure that you pretty much avoid exchanging your money at the airport, unless it's going to be just a small amount just to get you into the city, for example. Because most of the time, the currency exchange at the airport is probably one of the poorest exchange rates that you would be able to get in that country. So I always recommend waiting until you get into the city center and using an ATM card where it also doesn't charge you any fees to withdraw your money. You use the ATM at a financial institution or like an established bank, withdraw your money, and you're able to get the local currency that way. Or if you do already have your cash, for example, US dollars, and you want to exchange it, I would advise that you go to a reputable exchange company within the city to get better rates. Normally, I always ask like a local driver or the hotel for recommendations of anywhere that may be nearby for me to do currency exchange. And when it comes to ATM withdrawals, I actually always use my Charles Schwab ATM card because I'm in the US, so I do have access to this card. It doesn't charge me for any withdrawals when I'm taking out money abroad, and it also refunds me at the end of each month for any type of ATM fees that may have been incurred when I withdrew money. Because of course, all ATMs are gonna charge you some type of fee. So I use my Charles Schwab card to be able to not have to pay any withdrawal fees or any ATM fees. Another tip when it comes to taking out money from the ATM when you are abroad, you always want to decline the currency conversion that you are seeing on the screen. So when you are about to take out the money, you put in your card, you put how much money you want. The ATM normally would ask you, do you want to accept or decline this conversion? Meaning, if you are trying to take out $50, the ATM is saying, okay, we are going to charge you, like on your card, we are going to charge you $60 for you to be able to withdraw this $50. So let's say a $10 fee. However, you want to decline the conversion because your bank 99% of the time is going to give you a better rate than the ATM that you are withdrawing from. So your bank may end up charging you, let's say, $53, right? Versus $60. So you're able to save $7 just by declining the conversion that you're seeing on the ATM screen. So definitely keep that tip in mind. And lastly, one of my tips is regarding roaming fees. Y'all, it is 2024. You should not be getting charged roaming fees at this time when there's so many other ways for you to still be connected while you travel abroad and save your coins when you are traveling. So if you have an unlocked device, you can actually use an eSIM to be able to save costs and not use your provider's phone plan where they are charging you roaming costs every single day that you are traveling. And I personally use Airalo if I do want to do an eSIM when I am traveling abroad. I have helped a bunch of people use Airalo, even people that are not the best, savvy in terms of technology. Airalo is super easy to use. And if you want $3 off your first SIM, I will absolutely leave my code on the screen and in the description box for you to save for your first eSIM with Airalo. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment below if you have any other tips to add for any listeners of this video. So that's all I have for you guys today. Bye.